Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTSadvantage.com. Hope that you're all doing well. And in today's lesson, what we're going to focus on is why do you keep failing the IELTS test? So I came across this a number of months ago and I did a bit of research on it over the weekend. And it's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it perfectly explains why some people fail the test over and over and over again. So we're going to talk about that today. It's really useful. We did a video on Facebook earlier today and a number of people, it was like a light bulb moment for them. They're like, that's why I keep failing. So let's look at this. So what is the Dunning-Kruger effect? So any of you who have studied psychology, you've probably heard about this before. This Dunning-Kruger effect was in 1999. They came out with this research and it basically says that people with low ability mistakenly believe their ability is greater than it actually is. So a little bit of knowledge is a very dangerous thing. People with a little bit of competence generally have very high confidence, but very little competence. So let's look at what this looks like on a graph. So x-axis, we have competence, how much you actually know about something, your actual ability, your actual objective ability. Then we have confidence. So this is the opposite in many ways. This is what you think your ability is like. So it isn't based in reality, it's based on how you perceive yourself. And how it generally works is, so when someone starts to learn IELTS, we have, I know nothing, all right? And that's fair enough. So you've never heard of the test before, you start learning it, and you have zero confidence and zero competence. You know nothing about it, and you realize that you know nothing about it, all right? So fair enough. Then, you learn a little bit about it, okay? So you get a little bit of competence, okay? So more than zero competence, but not much more than zero. However, the interesting part is, and this is the most interesting part of the graph, is this bit. As you get a little bit of competence, so you know a little bit about the test, your confidence skyrockets, okay? And this is where this comes in. So people here that know a little bit think they know everything, but in reality, they know nothing, or just a little bit more than nothing. And this has huge implications for people doing the IELTS test. Because you'll get people who know a little bit about it, do the test, and fail it, and have no idea why they failed. And they will be outraged most of the time that they failed. You'll hear people saying, this is fixed, they cheated me, I can't believe this, or they'll blame their teacher, or they'll blame IDP, or the British Council. They're actually angry about it. And they have no idea how someone with that much confidence, that much perceived ability could get a low score. Then if they proceed, so imagine this is their first failure, and then they start to learn a little bit more about it. Here, is where they're like, oh, actually, I don't know much about this. So their confidence starts to drop as their competence increases. And this is a good thing, because it allows them to realize that they were wrong. Their perceived ability was way higher than their actual ability. And they start to say, but this is the stage where many people do give up because they realize that this is going to be way more work and is way more complicated than I first thought. So many people just give up here. However, lots of people do persist, okay? But this is also a problem. So you'll get to a point where you know quite a bit about it. Your actual ability is quite high, but you get to a point where your confidence is at a low. And this is when people say, like, I'm never going to learn this. So they might have done the test again and they just think there's no way to get to the top of the mountain. They just think, I can never do this. It's so complicated. It's so much hard work. I've done the test 3 times and got 6.5 every single time. This is when most people give up. But you'll notice they're becoming more and more competent, all right? So again, this is about perceived confidence, all right? It's all in your head. So you think that you know nothing, but you're actually way better than when you thought you knew everything. So you are improving. So it's important to break through this wall and to keep going. And when you start to get here, so you're getting really, really competent, your confidence starts to increase. This is when people start to, I'm actually getting this. So this could be because you've done a lot of work, or it could be because you've got a teacher, or you've got really good feedback on your work. In an IELTS context, this is normally when people start to understand that it's an objective test, that the examiners are using objective criteria, and that objectively you know why you're not getting that score that you need, but you also know what to do in order to move from here. So let's think of a practical example. Someone here knows that they're getting 6.5 because they're making lots of grammar mistakes. They understand what those grammar mistakes are, and they understand exactly what to do in order to fix those grammar mistakes and improve. And if they keep doing that, then they're going to get to this stage, which is where you want to be, which is very, very competent, and you have the confidence to go and do the test and get the score that you need because you know that you're going to get that score. However, the interesting thing is, if we look here, even people who have mastered it and know exactly what they're doing, they will never have as much confidence as these people. And some people never leave this zone. I didn't name this. The Dunning-Kruger effect guys named this. This is called the peak of Mount Stupid. Not my name, but this is called Mount Stupid, and this is called as the peak of Mount Stupid. Some people stay here. I'm not calling anyone stupid or anything like that, but many people, and we'll talk about the effects that this have, stay here, and not only students, but some teachers as well. So let's talk about the effects of this. So, if you have a little bit of competence and a lot of confidence, what's going to happen? First and foremost, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to perform very, very badly. But you'll have no idea that you are. Do you know someone who thinks that they're a great singer or a great dancer or they're really funny or really good at a sport, and in fact they're terrible, but they've no idea how terrible they are? That's where you'll be if you stay here, okay? The other thing with that is you have no idea that you are making mistakes, so you're not trying to improve. You're not open to finding out those mistakes and working on those mistakes and turning your weaknesses into strengths. So you're making lots of mistakes and you're never improving. This is what I'm talking about when people are stuck at the top, at the summit of Mount Stupid. Again, I didn't name it, they did. What you'll also get, and this is the most frustrating thing I find with some students, is they start to blame other factors other than themselves. So their confidence is so high, but they're failing the test because their competence is not. Their confidence is so high that they cannot blame themselves for their own performance. They can't take responsibility for their own results. So what you'll hear from these people is, I had a bad teacher, I had a bad course, IDP failed me, British Council failed me, it's all fixed, it's all a scam, they're only failing me to get... It's a complete inability to actually realize that it was your own performance that led to you getting a low score. And this is not just IELTS tests. This is not just within the IELTS context. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies have been done in every imaginable sphere, every imaginable area, and you'll always get people here blaming everyone else. I'm sure that you know some people like that. I'm sure you know some people who blame all their problems on other people and other things and never really take responsibility. You'll also have a failure to put in the work. So, what's the difference between somebody who knows nothing and has mastered that? Between here and here is hard work. Nothing else, hard work. Alright, no one has ever gone from here to here without putting in the work. I guarantee you. I do not know a single person who knew nothing about it until someone who mastered anything, not just IELTS, who didn't put in the work. So if you're stuck here, you think you're great, you think you're amazing. People who think that don't work hard. Alright? Or if you get to this stage where you're like, uh-oh, this is terrible, this is so much work, you get overwhelmed with everything, or you're just like, I'm not good enough, I'll never get to where I need to be. You're not going to put in the hard work, not because you're lazy, but just because you're like, I don't have it, I can't do it. Your confidence is so low that you think that you can't do it. So you're not going to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you're never going to get here. Very, very simple. Tips, tricks, hacks, etc. All right, so this zone here is where people start to look for tips and tricks and hacks. Up here, these people don't need that. All right, they think that they know everything, so they don't need that. But maybe after you fail the test once, or you realize that it's a lot more complicated than it sounds, or you get here, that's when people start to get desperate. So they are looking for shortcuts. They're looking for ways to cheat the test. They're looking for example, a list of band 9 words or magic structures. And a lot of people who are good at marketing know that you're looking for that. All right, so this is a prime opportunity for people to say things like, join my school and I guarantee you'll get a band 9, or use my list of magic words. If you're in this area, you'll pay any amount of money for that bullshit. Let's call it what it is. So be very, very careful. If you are in that area, you'll be susceptible to that kind of marketing. Also here, this is the saddest thing, you will, if you're up here, you'll be in a culture of incompetence. So this is not only students, but this is teachers, some teachers, not all teachers, but some teachers. You'll get some teachers that learn a little bit about IELTS, like they might read one book about IELTS, or they might watch a few YouTube videos, and all of a sudden they think they're amazing, all right? So what they do is they just start to tell the students whatever they know. What do they know? They know nothing. All right? So you might be in a classroom with a teacher who thinks that they know everything, but actually knows nothing. And that means that a lot of the other students will also be in this bubble of incompetence because they'll all believe their own bullshit. You know, oh, don't worry about the test, it's easy, you just learn my list of band 9 words and magic structures and you'll get the score that you need. That's not going to happen. That's never happened, ever, and it will never happen. So you need to be very, very careful not to be in that culture of incompetence. That's why you'll hear so many crazy things about the test. Like you'll hear some teachers say things like, oh, wear nice clothes and you'll get a high score on the IELTS test. Learn my 5 magic words and get a high score on the IELTS test. Or greet the examiner in a friendly, polite way and you'll get a high... Like, that's someone who thinks that they know a lot, but knows nothing. You have to be very, very careful with that. Am I criticizing people and saying there are some people that are stupid or anything like that? No. In all walks of life, in every different area of your life, everybody has things that they think that they're great at, but they're not so good at. I have many, many, many things in my life that I'm sure that I'm terrible at and I think that I'm pretty good at. But the tricky thing about the Dunning-Kruger effect is you've no idea that you're here because you do not have enough competence to know that you know nothing about it. But the trick is to seek out someone who knows what they're doing and to seek out criticism. Seeking out criticism from somebody who knows what they're doing is going to make sure that you're never here, all right? Because they're constantly going to be improving your competence while keeping your confidence not too low and not too high. That's why we constantly talk about mindset with our students. So with our students, we ask them some questions before they can join our VIP course, and we say things like, are you looking for tips and tricks? If they say yes, you're not allowed on our course. We say things like, are you open to us criticizing your work? If they say, no, I don't want criticism, we don't allow them to join. If we talk to students and we say, timeline-wise, when do you want to do the test? If they say, oh, I want to do the test next week, you're not allowed to join our course because they're never going to get there. And I don't want to deal with a bunch of students that are all up here. I would rather deal with students that are constantly moving and improving their competence while never really getting too down or too up. And if you have that mindset of constantly wanting to improve, constantly being open to improvement and open to criticism and turning your weaknesses into strengths, you will get from here to here, not quickly, but relatively quickly. You can accelerate your journey from here to here. But if you're the type of student that just wants cheats, hacks, shortcuts, never really accepting responsibility for your own performance, never being open to criticism, living in la la land, then you're going to be up here. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that was interesting. There are some great YouTube videos on the Dunning-Kruger effect. There's some great YouTube videos on how to, and they're illustrated with, you know, animations and stuff like that, and it'll really hit home, and it will talk about all the different studies that they've done. They're really, really interesting stuff. If you're interested in psychology, check it out, you'll really like it. Or if you're interested in just human performance and how you get better at stuff, it's really, really interesting too. So that's pretty much it for the Dunning-Kruger effect and why you keep failing the test. But let me know in the comments, where are you? So have you been here, or do you know anyone here? Have you been here where you're like, uh-oh, this is a lot more complicated, or like here, I'm never going to improve? Or are you starting to get this and you're starting to improve, and you'll get here where you master it and you'll be like, trust me, you need to work hard. It's more complicated than you think, but if you work hard, you'll get here. So it'll be interesting to see in the comments where you think you are. So, going to have a look at your, so we're live at the moment, so good, excellent. Rajdeep, my IELTS teacher gave me 1 band less because I didn't make proper eye contact while speaking test. Your teacher is up here. So if you're still with that teacher, show them this video. Mr. Teacher, Mrs. Teacher, whoever you are, please explain to your students where in the official marking criteria for the speaking test does it say anything about eye contact. Please explain that to your students with reference to the official marking criteria. I'd love for you to do that. So, I asked him the reason and he told me lack of eye contact. Gee, ooh. I mean, I don't like to be negative. I like to keep things as positive as possible, but this is your future, all right? This is your future life. It could mean the difference between you moving to the country of your dreams, getting the job of your dreams, or not. So this is why I get a little bit negative and a little bit angry when I hear stuff like that, because people are paying money to get good advice, and they're not, you know? And people need to realize that it does have in effect. That's what I'm talking about, a culture of incompetence, basically. People believing their own bullshit. So I'm trying to find any questions related to this. Somebody's still saying, really, is there not any tricks to get a good band? I think you're here. All right, so there's some little tiny things, but no, not really. I feel anxious sometimes while speaking in English. How do I get rid of that? Change your mindset to, so basically why you feel anxious is because you don't like making mistakes. You don't want to sound silly, or you don't want people laughing at you. And that's a totally natural human way of thinking. Human beings get embarrassed. They don't like, you know, making mistakes, especially in a crowd or where there's a large group of people. Change your mindset from that to every single mistake that you make is an opportunity for you to improve, and you will never improve if you do not make mistakes. So embrace mistakes and see them as a positive thing, and then you'll start to become more outgoing and improve your confidence with speaking. Do you give PTE coaching? No, I don't give PTE coaching. I don't think it's a very reliable test. So I don't want to have students give me money to do a test that is not reliable, because then, you know, it just doesn't feel right. Is there any link that will provide mock tests for speaking? Google mock speaking IELTS tests and you'll get lots of, I think you mean practice questions. Okay guys, so doesn't look like there are any more questions about this, so I'm going to go. Thank you very much to everybody who did ask questions, and hopefully that was helpful. It was we don't normally do videos like this, but I just saw it over the weekend and I thought this is so applicable to IELTS, and it's the reason why some people fail over and over and over again. So what I'd like you to do is, if you've enjoyed this video, just give it a like or subscribe if you want to see more videos. If you need any help with your IELTS, feel free to send me an email, chris@IELTSadvantage.com. Hopefully you found that useful, and if you need anything, just let me know. See you soon. Bye-bye.